Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to more Battlefield 1. Today we're playing a little bit of Conquest on the Empire's Edge, because Conquest is always the get-go mode for me. It's always the game to go, because I just enjoyed the sort of the madness of it. I enjoyed the feel of it, you know, the vehicle warfare, the tanks, the planes, everything shooting at you. Always have to be on your toes all the time and be on your guard, because you never know when it could be somebody just lurking behind you and taking you out. So it sort of brings, to me personally, brings a little bit of a skill back into the game when you have a lot more threats to worry about, and that's kind of what I miss in this Battlefield. I do miss the skill gap of it. I do miss a lot of the trollolo moments that we had in previous Battlefield games, you know, like getting behind. If you were skilled enough and you knew exactly in Battlefield 3 how to avoid the auto AA in the base, you could land in the enemy camp, get into the vehicle, steal the vehicle, put a bit of C4 on it, or maybe in the planes or whatever. You know, some of that things I do miss, because they created some of the cool, memorable moments that you had, like in Battlefield 3. And I know there's going to be people that I've only played Battlefield 3, they never really enjoyed Battlefield 4, never really moved, and they didn't really enjoy Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, and they haven't moved since that one as well. And I know there's the same thing with Battlefield 4. There's people in there that just play Battlefield 4 still, and I've really gotten into Battlefield 1 just because it's too easy and it's too casual, and it rewards casualness, you know, it rewards hipfire. There's not that many weapons. It rewards you being just sort of sitting in a tank somewhere and just shooting, and there's not really too many countermeasures for you to take you out. You can simply just press a button and you'll be repaired another 30% of the time. It just makes it a bit too casual, and it makes it a bit too simple, and it's kind of suffering from the same syndrome that Battlefront has suffered, and we've talked about this before. And it's the same thing with the behemoths. You know, the behemoths are just sort of one of those things that you want to hop in as quickly as you see it, because you guaranteed 20, 30, 40 kills in it. It's just that simple. I mean, especially the ones at sea, you're only going to have basically the boats shooting at you, and as long as you have a teammate, or you talk in the chat with somebody saying, mind that boat and just watch out and just watch my back, you can easily have 30, 40 kills by just sitting in there and just mortaring the shit out of everybody inside the fortress, say on Foul or something like that. It's just going to be too easy, and it's the same thing on Empire's Edge. As long as you have somebody watching a little bit of what you're doing in there, then it's going to be fairly easy for you to get tons and tons of kills, regardless of you being a Battlefield pro that you've been playing it for years, or just somebody that's picked up Battlefield in the last couple of years and you played Battlefield 4 and then that's it. I think the only game, if you come down to sort of, is Battlefield 1 dying? No, there's plenty of people out there playing it. It's going to be tons of people that played it, because you've got the sales from the original launch, then you have the Christmas, then you're going to have more sales, so you're always going to get more and more people into the game to a certain point. I mean, where you could look at Battlefield and see if it's going to last longer, it's going to be sort of after the first DLC. The first DLC is going to get released, there's going to be some new tanks in there, there's going to be a new behemoth in there, 4 new maps, maybe a couple of weapons, and we'll see what that's going to be like. Then you can start to judge if Battlefield 1 is going to be better or worse than previous Battlefield games. But for now, there's still plenty of people out there for you to play. There's about 400,000 just over the weekend on all 3 platforms. The only game that I can think of that died kind of a month or 2 after 3 of it getting released, even though technically it's not a Battlefield game, it's Battlefield Hardline. I mean, nobody really played that after more than a month or 2. I don't remember ever playing any of the DLC, even though they've done sort of free DLCs and things like that, and 10 times XP. Nobody really gave a shit, nobody really played that game anymore. And even if they bring out another one, which they probably would, because they have sold quite a few copies of it, so chances are if they sold enough copies, they will make another one. It's the same thing as Titanfall. I mean, why did Titanfall 2 come out? It just makes no sense whatsoever why it came out. Nobody played that shit after they got released. I mean, they even got all the DLCs for free and nobody played it. So I guess if it sells and it makes enough money for you to make a profit on, it's simply going to make another game. It's just that simple. Put in a couple of new features while missing in the first one that everybody wanted, and that's it. You know, hope there's another game. And that's what kind of Battlefield 1 is suffering from, is it being too casual. And the reason it's casual, I mean, a lot of people are looking at this the wrong way. The reason why Battlefield is casual is because there simply isn't enough content, and it isn't enough countermeasures for you to deal with things. You know, in Bad Company 2, if you had somebody that was really good as a pilot, and you remember them just sort of spinning around in Bad Company 2, and they could just rape everybody with it, you still had the tracer dart. You still could trace him and get him killed. You had the mighty Carl Gustav. In Battlefield 3, you had the long-range weapons, you had the RPG, the small, but you also had the laser-designated things. You had the snipers, you had the Jav in Battlefield 4. Even though a lot of us have complained about it, if you're a good pilot and you're in Little Bird or the plane or whatever weapon of choice you still had a ton of lock-ons that could deal with you and counter you not being that dominant on the field. In this one, the only thing you really have to counter the tank is other tanks, but because I'm using this variation of the tank, I can basically shoot another small tank down in 2 shots. So it comes down to who's got the better understanding of how the bullet drop works and how the aiming works, and if I got the jump on you and things like that. If you're in a big sort of tank, if you're in a landship or a mothership or whatever, I can still take you down within 3 to 4 shots, depending if you've taken any damage or not. So it's not going to be something that's going to be too skilled when it comes to this. And as for the AT weapons, as long as I stay at range and I have the capability of repairing myself just pressing a button for 30% of the time, it's not really much of a threat unless I don't push into the middle of the action and I get shot from all different angles and I can't really do anything about it. I can stay in this forever and I could do as much damage as I can. And it's the same thing with the behemoths. You know, there is no skill whatsoever required in one of those. All you have to do is keep your eyes peeled on the map, and then when you see it popping out, just get in there and you guaranteed 20, 30, 40 kills in it without you having to have any kind of skill. I mean, especially the ones on the sea. I think the ones on the sea are a lot better than the flying one. The one that's flying, you're going to get hit a lot of times by AA guns and things like that. But the one in the sea, as long as you have somebody watching your back from those boats that come and try and torpedo you, you should be staying in there for quite a long time doing quite a bit of damage. Well, that's kind of it for me for today. Let me know some of the things that you want to see in Battlefield 1. CTE is available now for those of you on PC. It's going to be available on the PS, on the Xbox at some point as well, but for now it's going to be PC only. And that'll be that. Ended up going 47-0 at the end of that round. Not too shabby. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up, post a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.